very unhealthy, let's say, relationship that she couldn't see through the weeds, right? Like, she was stuck in it, and no matter what anyone said to her, you get defensive because it's your life, all that kind of stuff. In order to help someone make a change in their life, you really have to either put up a boundary and say, like, I'm not gonna allow that kind of negativity in my life, or have a better understanding as to what your relationship is with that person, and just be there for when they're ready to talk. Because we cannot change others. Only they can change. But they have to see that there needs to be a change in order for them, right, to have that awareness that they need to go and do something about it. For myself, when it came to alcohol, my awareness was all around the fact that I thought about it too much. Same with food, like alcohol and my food, my eating are really similar. And once I had that realization that my relationship with alcohol was not healthy, was not positive, it was really toxic, and yet that's all I really was like thinking about. Like, when am I gonna drink next? How much am I gonna drink? All that kind of like trying to moderate without really understanding how to moderate. That was when I realized that awareness, I needed to make a change. So then what I did was I started reading lots of books. I then listened to a few different podcasts. And that's when I realized this thing in my life is bringing so much negativity in me personally. It would eventually affect my relationship with my child. And I grew up with an alcoholic father, and I was not willing for that to ever happen. And so one day, 2020 December, I decided I'm done drinking alcohol. And after that day, it has been more of like a realization that I have no control over alcohol. Therefore, I'm not going to try and continue to control this substance that I have no control over. But what I do have control over is not consuming it. But it's the same. It's the same as relationships. Realizing that we can't control them. We can't tell them as much information and as much knowledge as we know based on how we went through life, went through different relationships or substances or whatever it is. You know, they have to come to that awareness on their own. And as a friend, as a loved one, making sure that you're there for them when they have that awareness. Make those steps into a healthy relationship or a healthy environment, home environment, social environment, all those kinds of things. But it isn't our job when it comes to someone else's struggle and their needs. But our job isn't to then tell them what they really don't want to hear. Same with a DV relationship I was in. It's unhealthy, but like, I can't see myself with anyone else but him. Yeah, it's a hard one. But you're not alone in any of this. Same with food. I mean, food for me is a comfort. It just is. It always has been. And since getting on Zepbound, I've been able to have a different relationship with food. I'm eating because I'm hungry, because I know I need certain, foods in my diet to be healthy and all those kinds of things. So it's okay that we make moderations in our life to better protect our peace. I know that all sounds like kind of like a no-brainer when it comes to we can't change others, but I know a lot of us in different relationships, whether it is substances, whether it is food, whether it is an actual relationship with another human being, we tend to think that we can, or we think that we might be the chosen one to help them get through whatever it is. But like, if they don't find that their actions, their behavior, how they present themselves in this world is an issue, you won't be able to change them. And there is kind of a mindset around thinking that we can change people, especially if we think of like a partner, and if they have significant issues with like attachment with maybe their parental figure, that then it feels like for us that we're like abandoning them if we don't stick around, if we don't help them follow through, right, with the changes that they said that they want to make, but then they continue to make repeated decisions on negatively impacting that change that they said that they wanted. It's really important to recognize that, not necessarily like being an enabler, but also kind of if we're sticking around even though the behavior isn't actually significantly changing. This is just a reminder that you can really only change your own awareness, and you can only control things that are directly in your control, which doesn't include others. The only way that it includes others is the way in which you choose to be in relationship with. And for me, I tried so hard to moderate my drinking and realized I can't. I'm not able to actually have a healthy relationship with this thing. And so then I had to like say goodbye. It's been 5.5 years, which is wonderful. But what is something that you're wanting to change and that you might be struggling with right now? And just know that this awareness is literally the first step to a life change. Just the awareness of it. I mean, this goes into literally everything. Substances, relationships, how you're being treated in a relationship. Also the way that you parent, like your nervous system, just being aware that something's happening is the beginning of you being able to make a change.